Richard, your Ofsted report, a 3, happy or unhappy?
Seriously unhappy. I don't think that that's any kind of reflection of the standards of teaching and learning that go on in this school. I felt unhappy with the whole approach of the inspectors over the 2 days and their evaluation of the examination results particularly that we get in this school. So very, very disappointed with the whole thing. I'm particularly disappointed on behalf of my staff who work so hard and teach very well. And that was actually recognised, but strangely not graded as good in the report.
So are you saying that you were being judged before it even started?
Well, that was certainly how it felt. Speaking to the lead inspector on the first day, he very much, although he wouldn't actually say that was the case, because that would be a foolish thing for him to admit, he very much gave the impression that he had formed an opinion based on our data, etc., that the school was in a particular position, and that's what I feel personally that he set out to prove over 2 days. I found it difficult, for instance, for them to say that teaching in this school is satisfactory when they observed 28 lessons and 19 of those were either good or outstanding. That is somewhere around about 65% that were at a very high level indeed. And yet that was a decision they made. I think he had decided that it was satisfactory and it didn't matter what he saw in the classroom. That's why I feel particularly aggrieved for my staff.
So firstly you put a letter out to all the parents?
I have.
And what's that detail? What's in that letter?
Well, I didn't make it, it was limited, but I indicated the areas of complaint that I have made to Ofsted. I've actually written a letter to Ofsted of some 5 pages with 38 points of complaint in it. And I gave a reduced version of that to parents because a number of the points I'd made to Ofsted were somewhat technical. But I wanted parents to understand that a school that this summer is likely to get 65 to 70% 5 A to C's, including English and Maths, with a national average of only 58, I don't think that's a satisfactory performance. I think it's sizably above that.
Is this a question, and this has come up before, some other schools in Thurrock, indeed around the country, who judges the judges?
Well, that's an interesting issue, isn't it? And there is a marked lack of consistency, and I think lots of heads have brought that up. I have to say that I am also an Ofsted inspector for my sins, and I think that I've seen it from both sides of the fence, and I think it's something that Ofsted rapidly need to address.
Some people might say that nobody complains about getting an outstanding. Are you aware of a balance of people quite thinking this is sour grapes?
Yeah, of course, and once you say something after the event, it's often good to have complained before the event, really, if you possibly can, but yeah, of course, that's how it will look, because it will look as though we're just unhappy about a valid judgment and you know, we just are unhappy with it. That's not the case. It's the fact that we think it was actually an unfair judgment made on an unsound basis, and that's what I've sought to demonstrate to Ofsted in the letter of complaint I've sent.
Has the way that Ofsted approached go and inspect the school this year differed from going to a school, say, last year?
Well, they've got a new framework. They've got a completely different set of criteria from ones they've applied in the past, and that's often a reason given by Ofsted for grades being lower. And there's undoubtedly a case that grades actually across the piece since January and the new Ofsted system have been lower in lots of schools, including local schools. Somebody was telling me recently that they worked with a group of 20 schools in Kent, and 15 of them have recently been inspected, and every single one of them has got a lower grade than they had under the previous system. So it's definitely a national trend in that direction. But what's also interesting is the number of complaints about the way Ofsted are carrying out their process nationally is also rapidly, it's rising at a phenomenal rate.
So where do you go from here? You put the letter in, are you expecting them to respond really quickly?
They will not. They have 30 working days to make a response, so it will be some time before they do that. And I'm afraid the Ofsted complaints procedure is not encouraging for people making complaints. Only 3% of complaints are ever successful, or that's the track record so far. So I'm not hugely optimistic that we'll make progress with the complaint. If you look, for instance, at the Ofsted complaints procedure itself, it's about 10 pages of writing, which is really written in a way that is meant to stop you writing the complaint in the first place. So it's not a good scenario, I suppose.
But heads aren't down, are they? You're heading towards the end of term, but looking with one eye on the exam results in August.
Very much so. We're not down at all, because we think it's a misjudgment, and we think our exam results in the summer will prove that quite clearly. And that the following year we're expecting an even higher level of performance. Our current year 10s, who are becoming year 11s, are looking at record results yet again. So we think we're going forward, irrespective of what Ofsted might have said.
Richard, thank you very much.